In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to deploy a smart contract to the Sepolio's testnet using Hardhat. Sepolia is a proof-of-stake testnet where decentralized app developers can test their smart contract applications, and Hardhat is a development environment for Ethereum software. To follow along in this tutorial, you will need an Ethereum account, an Alchemy account, as well as fake Sepolio Ethereum in a wallet of your choice. I will be using MetaMask. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is install Hardhat. So we can type npm install dev Hardhat. And once this is done, we can go ahead and install Hardhat sample project, which includes some sample contracts as well as some test files. So next thing we want to do is run px Hardhat. And now you're prompt with some questions. What do you want to do? I'm going to create a TypeScript project, but feel free to use a JavaScript project if you're more comfortable. I'll just go ahead and keep the default value here. Yes, here. And also install a sample dependency. And once that's done, we'll go ahead and get started with walking through the sample project. Now that that is done, let's go ahead and take a look at the sample project. So in the sample project, we have a sample contract with a function called withdraw. And inside of test, we have a file called lock.ts with some sample test cases. And the first thing we want to do is let's go ahead and compile this sample project. So Hardhat compile. And as you can see, compile one Solidity file successful. So now let's go ahead and run the test. Make sure that all works. Test. Great, so non-test pass. So now let's talk about how do we deploy this sample contract to Sepolio's testnet. First things first, there's a file called hardhatconfig.ts. Let's go ahead and open that. And now the first thing we want to do is add our Ethereum API key. So where do we get our Ethereum API key? You should be able to find your Ethereum API key inside of your Ethereum account. So first thing you need to do is create an Ethereum account, and then you should be able to locate your API key. And once you locate your API key, you will want to first add it to the config file. You would want to add it here. Enter your etherscan API key. Next thing we want to do is set up our network. And the network we're going to use is, as I mentioned, we're going to use the Sepolio's testnet. So let's go ahead and type Sepolio, and then the URL will be https Ethereum, so galchemy, right, .com v2, and then we're gonna just have this open for now. Actually, we're just gonna type in alchemy API key, and let's go ahead and just create a constant up at the top of this file here, and let's leave it blank for now. After the URL, we need to tell it what private key we're going to use, and so we'll talk about what private key to use in a second. So again, let's go ahead and paste that. So let's first start with alchemy. Where will we find the alchemy API key? In order to find your alchemy API key, you must first create an alchemy account, and you should find your API key under dashboard. I won't click on dashboard in order to protect my API key, but once you set up your account under dashboard, you will see your API key. Now, once you have your API key, you want to enter your alchemy API key here. And next up is our Sepolio private key. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I'll be using MetaMask to as a wallet that will store my fake Sepolio Ethereum. So in this case, I have my MetaMask open here, and in order to find your private key for your Sepolio test network, you can select here, account details, and then export your private key. Again, you want to point to the Sepolio test network and go to account details and export your private key. Now, once you have your private key, you want to go ahead and enter your Sepolio private key here. And once that is done, you can go ahead and save this file and close it. Now, after setting up our configuration, let's go ahead and deploy our contract to the Sepolio test network. So first thing we want to do is type npx hardhat run scripts, right? Because in our script folder, we have the deploy script. We want to write deploy.ts, then network, and we want to type Sepolio and hit enter. Once that is done, you should see a message below. 1 Ethereum unlocked timestamp and it's deployed. Now, you want to keep track of the timestamp as well as the hash here, because the next thing we want to do is verify that our contract was deployed to Sepolio's testnet. So we want to verify by typing npx hardhat verify network Sepolia. Then we want to go ahead and just copy this address here, paste it, and then copy this timestamp. And this will make a call to the etherscan to verify that this contract has been deployed. And as you can see, contract has already been verified. So the next thing we want to do is go ahead to the etherscan and verify that our contract is on the Sepolio testnet blockchain. Okay, now that we are at the Sepolio testnet explorer, let's go ahead and copy our contract or our hash and go ahead and paste it, and let's see if it shows up. And as you can see, it shows up, right? 2 minutes ago, contract created from, and there you have it. And it costs 0.001 Ethereum. And if I go ahead and bring up my MetaMask, my amount of fake Sepolia Ethereum has went down. So that concludes our tutorial. Thank you for tuning in. If you find this video helpful, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below.